Welcome to Castle Hills Christian Church Online Church. We're really glad you decided to join us online today. We know you have a lot of ways you could be spending your time, and it means a lot to us that you're here. We're asking everyone to just take a moment or two to quiet themselves, minimize distractions, grab a Bible, and prepare your heart and mind to worship, study, and fellowship together online. Please take some time also to go to chccsa.info. This is your central hub for all next steps. There you complete an online connection card that'll let us know that you're worshiping with us and how you're doing that. You can also submit prayer requests, reach out if you have any questions about baptism or about our church, get connected with our teen and kids ministries, which are also hosting online resources. Anything that you would like to find out about our church is available at chccsa.info. And please feel free to use that at any point during the service today to reach out and connect with us. Or if you're watching on one of our streaming services on Facebook or YouTube, you can enter the comment section down below. We're going to post some links and you can interact with us there as well. But thank you for joining us for Church Online.
Worthy You are the Word at the beginning, one with God the Lord Most High. Your hidden glory in creation, now revealed in you are Christ. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. You didn't want heaven without us. So Jesus, you brought heaven down. Our sin was great, your love was greater. What could separate us now? What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a wonderful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. Death could not hold you. The veil torn before you. You silenced the boast of sin and grave. The heavens are rolling, the praise of your glory. For you are raised to life again. You have no rival, you have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus.
Happy Mother's Day. We want to say thank you to all of our moms out there, and whether you have biological children or not, we want to say thank you for investing into our children. Today I invited Julie, my wife, my better half, to talk about motherhood and talk about love. Last week we started a series called Messy. Loving others isn't easy. And I know that you were raised in a large Catholic family, a lot of sisters, a couple of brothers. And I know that this wasn't always easy for your mom. A lot of times your sisters and brothers were great, but other times they were a little challenging, probably a little annoying at times, just like most families can be. And I want to see, what's something that you learned from your mom?
Well, I did grow up in a large family. I'm the youngest of 7, and I missed a lot of the chaos that went along with having, a bunch of kids at once. I was kind of at the tail end, and so
you were the baby.
I was the baby,
the spoiled one.
Maybe. But so in some ways, I was kind of like an only child because I was so much younger than the rest. But if you asked my mom, what it was like, she would say, "I don't really remember," which is what a lot of moms of lots of children say, because it's just kind of a blur. But what I do know from my mom, what I have learned from my mom, I'm sure it was lost on me at the time, but as an adult looking back, there are certain things I value that I can look back and say, wow, that's like, she did that for me. One is the gift of time. I mean, I think I can look back and see how she invested her time in me. She coached my softball team for years. Growing up, I played sports, and softball was something I played for many years, and she was my coach, and she would go to work all day, come home, and then several nights a week we were out practicing, having softball games. And when I think about how tired I am after getting home from a full day of work, it's hard for me to imagine wanting to go out and do that, not just once a week, but 2 or 3 times a week. And looking back, I can see what an investment that was. She probably didn't do it because of anything I did. It wasn't because I was great and I deserved it. And that's the thing, I think my big takeaway from her is that none of the love that she showed me was because I deserved it. It was just because she loved me, because she just did, because she was a good mom. And I think that's just the nature of motherhood. The other thing, I think, just kind of going along with that, is that I can look back and see how she sacrificed her preferences often, sacrificed her maybe strong emotions so that I could feel secure. She gave me a very strong sense of security. I knew I was loved. I knew I was safe. I wasn't afraid to make mistakes because I knew that my mistakes didn't jeopardize the love. I wasn't loved because of anything I did or didn't do. And I probably knew that at the time. I probably felt that, but I probably couldn't verbalize that. But looking back, I can definitely see the value of having that security. And I think for a lot of moms, that comes naturally. When you become a mother, that instinct just kind of takes over. But I don't necessarily, I know, and as a teacher, I know, working with all kinds of students, that it's not natural for everybody. Some students don't know, or some children don't know. But I think whether it comes naturally or whether it's something you have to work at, it is a real gift, and one of the greatest gifts any mother could give to her child, and I definitely value that.
I know one of the things that we've talked about with your mom is she just loves sacrificially. I mean, she is truly, she'll sacrifice, she'll give you the shirt off of her back, and she's just known throughout the family for that, and I know that's something that she's passed down to each one of her kids. Now, I want to move on from your mom to you being a mother, and it's hard to believe, but we have 3 teenagers. We're moving toward having an empty nest in the next few years, and I know that you have some mixed emotions about that. A little sad. I'm a little happy. Maybe you're a little bit happy with that, but I wanted to talk to you about some of the challenges, some of the things that, especially during COVID-19, that sometimes it's not really easy to love when we're confined in this tight space.
Yeah, I think that definitely is one of the biggest challenges, is that proximity. I think, we've talked about it in different ways over time. Being together all the time is definitely not easy. And when I think about what I want for my children, I want them to have that security and that safety that I know I had. I think whereas maybe it came naturally to my mother, course, I would do anything for my children, but to have that serenity and that gentleness of spirit is not necessarily natural to me. And so I think in this time when we're so close together and all the time, that's something I really have to work on, is how I react. And, you know, watching my temper and watching the words that I say, so that I don't take away any of that security from them. I know my kids know that I love them, but I also want to make it very clear that my love is not contingent on anything that they do or anything that they say. And so I think just the relational aspect is just something that we really have to work on, especially right now during this time. Our middle son's birthday was last week, and our youngest son got together a bunch of people and made some birthday messages for him. And so Monica, our worship leader, sent Elijah a message, and it just really stuck with me. And what she said to Elijah was, Elijah, who's a musician, she said to him, "You are admired for your talent, but you're loved for who you are."
Yeah.
And I thought, that's like, I hope that my kids know that I admire them, and that's great, but that's separate from my love. Also, you know, when they do things that are not admirable, that's also separate from my love. The love is there regardless of what they do. And I hope that they know that. And that's a goal for really any parent, I think.
Julie, you and I have been discussing the book of Ruth, and especially when we talk about love, I just see sacrificial love written throughout that book. The background, of course, is it's in the time of the Judges, which was really kind of an ugly time period for the Israelites. They really had this kind of up and down relationship with God. At times they were on fire, and then other times they would fall away. And you just saw this kind of vicious cycle of being up and down. And if you look at the end of Judges, it basically says they did whatever they wanted. And they just did whatever their heart led them to do. And they basically kind of put God on the side. And so we start the book of Ruth that way. And we see Elimelech and his family. His wife's name was Naomi. He had 2 sons and 2 sisters and daughters-in-laws, not sisters-in-laws, daughters-in-laws. And at first we see this setting that they're in Israel, and there's a famine that takes place. And when we see famine, we may not think a whole lot about it. But when you look at Deuteronomy 11, famine normally came when God's people were turning their back on him, when they were worshiping idols. If they obeyed him, God would bless them, but Deuteronomy says that he would withhold rain, and the land would go barren, and a famine would take place. And so you see at the very beginning of Ruth, a famine taking place, and Elimelech actually moves his family away from Israel, which you may think, hey, it's not a big deal, but where he moves them to is a really bad place. It's Moab. And Moab is a place that were the arch enemies of the Israelites. They worship pagan gods. Actually, they were known for their child sacrifice, and God had some really strong words toward the Moabites, and for the Israelites to move there, that was a big deal. And what we see there is not only did Elimelech move his family there, but his 2 sons end up marrying women from there. And so now all of a sudden you have these mixed races, and so it's really kind of a terrible picture in the first 3 or 4 verses here that we see. And then all of a sudden Elimelech dies, the 2 sons die, and this is all in the course of about 10 years. And Naomi is a widow. She doesn't have her sons to support her, which we need to understand, that in that culture, basically she became homeless. And she hears that the famine has ended in Israel, and so she decides to start traveling back. But now, again, she has 2 daughters-in-law, and Orpah and Ruth. And you can see in this book that they just have a love for each other. It didn't matter that they were from Moab. They just had this natural love. And in Ruth 1:7, it says this. But on the way, and on the way as they're going back toward Israel, Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back to your mother's home. May the Lord reward you for your kindness to your husbands and to me. May the Lord bless you with security of another marriage." And then she kissed them goodbye, and they all broke down and they wept. You just saw this natural love. And then verse 10 says, "No," they said, "we want to go with you to your people." They were willing to leave their parents, their family, their friends, everything that they knew. They just had this sacrificial love for that they wanted to show to Naomi. Well, Naomi eventually talks Orpah out of it, and she's like, "Hey, you don't need to do this." And I think she was pretty firm. But something that we might miss in this is I think Ruth was pretty stubborn. Even though Naomi wanted her to go back and not go through all of the sacrifices that she knew that she was going to have to go through, Ruth was determined to stay with her. And in verse 16, these are some of the more famous verses, but Ruth replied, "Don't ask me to leave you and turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God." And remember, the gods that Ruth was raised with were pagan gods. She was like, "Hey, I'm willing to sacrifice it all. I'm willing to go with you." Verse 17, "Wherever you die, I will die. There I will be buried. May the Lord punish me severely if I allow anything but death to separate us." Now, we just see that commitment. And when Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, that she was hard-headed, that she wasn't going to change her mind, she said nothing more. And if you look at Naomi through this book, she does a lot of talking. And for her to be silent on this, you see what's going on. And if you move to Ruth chapter 2, we see that, again, Ruth is leaving her family, her friends. She's going to this foreign land. And again, remember, the Moabites were the arch enemies of the Israelites and this pagan people. And she gets there and she ends up going to this field that ended up, and she's gleaning grain. She's out in the fields working hard. She was going to have to sacrifice. She was trying to take care of herself and trying to take care of Naomi. And she happens to go to this field owned by Boaz that ends up being this distant relative. And Boaz ends up noticing her. I don't know if it was love at first sight or what it was, but he notices her and he wants to make sure that she's protected. But this struck me when I read verse 11. It says, "Yes, I know," Boaz replied, "but I also know about everything that you've done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. I've heard how you left your father and mother, your land, to live among complete strangers. May the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come, take refuge and reward you fully for what you've done." I just read that, and Ruth's love is known throughout. People have seen her commitment to Naomi. You see the sacrificial love that she's demonstrating. That's the type of love that we see in 1 Corinthians 13, the chapter that we're really trying to meditate on during this series. That love is patient, love is kind, that love has this commitment, that it just keeps on going. The story of Ruth is proof that love is not what you say, it's what you do. Sacrificial love sticks with someone through tough times. Ruth could have stayed in Moab. She could have stayed with her family and friends, but she decided to sacrifice. And love sticks with you through the hard times, through the messy times, through COVID-19. Sacrificial love adjusts to others. Your people shall be my people, your God my God. She was willing to to give up and to sacrifice, just similar to what your mom was willing to do. She was willing to sacrifice her time, even though she was tired at the end of the day. I've seen how she's loved each one of your sisters and your brothers in different ways, and she was willing to do whatever it took to show them love. And sacrificial love gets out of your comfort zone sometimes. Sometimes you do things that you may not be comfortable with. For instance, when I go to a romantic movie with you, that's a little out of my comfort zone. And so that's what love causes you to do in different ways. And sacrificial love puts your needs above, sacrificial love puts their needs above your needs. And that goes back to us not being selfish and thinking about others. And so today we want to encourage you. I think our moms are a great example of sacrificial love. But each week we're also reminded of sacrificial love. When we come to communion, we're reminded of Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. And so when we take the bread, we remember his body that was put on that cross. And when we take the juice or whatever you're using for the juice, we remember that his blood was sacrificed for us. And so I want you to take some time to think about how Jesus modeled sacrificial love for us. And I want to encourage you this week to love sacrificially. Would you pray with me as we move into this time of communion? Jesus, thank you for showing us what true sacrificial love is. Thank you for giving us the ability to love. We know that we couldn't do it on our own, but you showed us, and your Spirit lives within us so that we can love in this way. In your precious holy name, amen.
How deep the Father's love for us, how vast beyond our measure, that He should give His only Son to make a wretch His treasure. How great the pain of searing His face away, as wounds which mar the chosen one bring many sons to glory. Behold the man upon a cross, my sin upon his shoulders. Ashamed, I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held him there until it was accomplished. know with all my heart, his wounds have paid my ransom. Why should I gain from his reward? I cannot give an answer, but this I know with all my heart, his wounds have paid my ransom.
When my heart is weary, when my soul is weak, when it seems I can't traverse the trail before me, I survey the glory of your agony, and I find the will to fight for what's before me. You ran the race, enduring for your glory. And I fix my eyes on you, the founder and the finisher of our faith. And I fix my eyes on you, the solace in your suffering is my strength. As I fight to follow, you're my righteous guide, and you train me to delight in all that's holy. Heal my broken body, cure my crooked stride, throw off every weight and sin that clings so closely. I will run the race, enduring for your glory. And I fix my eyes on you, the founder and the finisher of our faith. I fix my eyes on you, the solace in your suffering is my strength. You help me breathe, you're the only life I need. You died for me, you're the only life I need. You help me breathe, you're the only life I need. You died for me, you're the only life I need. So I fix my eyes on you, the founder and the finisher of our faith. I fix my eyes on you, the solace in your suffering is my strength.
Thank you for joining us for Church Online. We're excited to know that some of you are ready to take some next steps in your faith journey, and we want to come alongside you, partner with you, love you, and equip you through this process. If you want to submit a prayer request, you can go to chccsa.info and click on prayer request, or there should be a link in the comments section below. Let us know if it's a confidential prayer request, and we would love to be praying for you, your friends, your family, your situation throughout the week. If you want to talk to someone about beginning a relationship with Jesus and getting baptized, click on the link in the comment section or click on baptism at chccsa.info. There's a quick questionnaire. We can get in touch with you and begin to have some of those conversations about what it looks like to begin your faith journey. Many of you call Castle Hills Christian Church your home. And if you want to continue to support us financially and partner with us as we serve both here in San Antonio and around the world, we would love to equip you to do that. You can go to give.chccsa.com, or you can text the word give to the number 210-903-5440 to begin contributing financially to Castle Hills Christian Church. Thanks again for joining us. We hope you have a great week.